Hi guys, it's Alston. Today we are going to look into outranking. As you guys already know that I've been a outranking user for a couple of months and you have seen my initial, I would say version 1 of outranking where it was more like a content research tool rather than an AI tool. But for the past few months they have done a lot of changes into the platform, especially when it comes to AI content creating and also sections. All you much if you compare the current version of the app with the video I created, you will see a lot of differences in it. And also outranking does something interesting where they are trying to create more factual content using AI, and they are using something called concepts to do that. So before I started and creating a more updated video on outranking, which is going to come out soon, first I want to get the co-founder of outranking, because he's the most experienced guys to learn about outranking. So I got him on a video, and here in this video he's going to showcase all the key features of outranking, what kind of data you can get, how you can get the AI to write factual content, and what is the best way to use outranking. So basically, all the updates until now, and he's going to show how to use the outranking for the best data for your needs. And thank you so much, Pankil, for doing this. Really appreciate it.
No, absolutely. Thank you so much for having me, Alston, and it's my pleasure. As always, you've got a great crowd, and you do some tremendous work. So I'm happy to help out and show what outranking is now versus a few
Yeah.
months ago, right? Like we've came 7 versions apart, so it will be interesting. So I'm happy to start whenever you are ready.
Yeah, you can go ahead and share the screen and just walk us from a beginner perspective on all the changes and also what is the best way to go get started with it.
Sounds good. I think my sharing is disabled.
Is it? Uh, it's enabled.
Host.
Okay, I think now it's done.
Okay. Yes. Now it works. All right. So I'm taking a very generic keyword that most people will understand. And we can look at some examples later on if you want with some really complex keywords, which nobody knows about. And probably there's no search volume to it either. So let's look at content marketing strategy and start creating SEO document around it. So, okay. So this is the first biggest change that we made is AI Wizard. We want to walk the users through a proper journey of creating the most important elements of your blog post or your web page content so that you can guide the remaining pieces very easily. So let's generate some title ideas and content marketing strategy. Why content marketing is okay, so you can change this to 2021. 2021. Or you can change add a few words here and there, make adjustments to it. How to use content marketing to win customers, right? This is one more idea. You can also add your own keyword and regenerate the title to have that as well in it.
Mm.
So this is essentially brainstorming, but what we are doing is we're passing the related keyword data and the highest frequency word data into our models to come up with the title. So, and we are also passing the training data from existing SERPs, so it maintains that user intent along with it. So that's very important, right? Like if you're not maintaining user intent,
Makes
then you might not rank for it, right? So, okay, let's go ahead and go next. So now what meta description is doing is taking that title plus the related keyword data, the highest frequency word data, and the training data, and coming up with descriptions based on that. So let's say we like something, and there you go. This has most of the keywords that I want. Now, this is this is probably the most powerful outline builder that you'll see here, is because look at this. This is your related keyword data, and this comes directly from the SERP data that we scrape, right? So 20 pages of SERP, they are using these keywords in their H tags or their
mm.
bold tags. And they're targeting this. This is what you want to really target in your H tags and bold, most important tags of your content. Then this is your highest frequency word data. So what will happen is that in many cases, when you're targeting a super long tail keyword, you will not have too many related keywords associated with it, right? The query is just nuanced. The keyword is still just coming up in the trend. In that case, you need to rely on some frequently associated data points that you can come up with content around. So that's why you have highest frequency keyword data. Now, this is generating section concepts. So when I generate this, what it's essentially doing is that it's going into the SERP data and finding out the most dense portions of the content and coming up with outlines from there. Why? The most dense portion of your content is often the content that drives the most value on your web page. So that is also the most difficult part when it comes to researching and creating content, because that's where you're going to focus your energy on and research on to come up with content, right? So this is why we have this. Now, what is content marketing strategy? You can see that some of these things, these are the ideas that pulled out from SERP, and we rewrite them, we extract concepts, make them concise, more readable, so you can easily adjust them into your content. So let's say you add this. Now, when you add this, what is content strategy? It's not targeting any of these keywords, right? So what is content marketing strategy? Look at that. It starts turning green, right? And if you want to see like content marketing block strategy, you can click on it and see if anybody else has mentioned this in the content. And if they have not, that's okay. You can look at SERP outline data and come up with this as well. So let me add this as well. Types of content marketing. What is content marketing strategy? So this is content marketing strategy. You can add more and then rearrange those elements into your outline. So I can just minimize this and it will open it up. And then you can drag and drop and create a really powerful section that talks about all the elements around it. Okay, so let's say you have your outline and you still need to do a little bit more digging, right? So this is your SERP data. This is the 20 pages of SERP that you can scroll through. You can see all the H3 tags here, conversion rate optimization block, right? So if this is something that you like, you can add directly into your content. And the mapping works here as well, right? So how to plan a content marketing strategy. If it is related, you will see it highlighted in orange. And if it is not, so that means like this is a keyword that you can essentially target in your H tags. Someone has mentioned this in the bold tag. You can outrun them by emphasizing it more than they are in your H or H2 tag. So that's what it's suggesting. Similarly, guides and stuff, right? So, and then your PA boxes, if you have good, so this is already mentioned over here, so that's okay. We don't need to. What is content marketing strategy? It's also mentioned over here. We can just pass that along. Okay,
so
I have the
the
content.
section output is from the AI and all the other options, and SERP outline is directly what your competitors are doing on the SERP, right?
Exactly, right. And you will see some coincide, like data will coincide, and that's okay. But the data that you have on section concepts is much cleaner, much easier to understand and organize. And that's the main focus of it, right? Like we are not going to give you new ideas. We want to give you ideas that work, but in a very more precise way. So that's not the, yeah. So let's say you have your outlines, right? You can even add your custom outlines and arrange them however you want. Delete it. Let's go ahead and delete this. Right. So once you have your proper outline set up and you're targeting all of the keywords over here, you're ready to move on to the next step. So the next step is when you research content within this sections, right? This H2 and H3 stuff. So let's go ahead and click on create sections and outline. And now here, look at this. So we've set up the URL for you, title for you, description for you, H1 tag for you. They're all changeable. Let's go ahead and refresh the score. You will see some improvements in, there you go. The title is good enough. Meta description is great. Heading's great. You've started using one question maybe somewhere, which is okay. And we'll see how we can target more. But you are landed upon this particular screen where everything is a setup for you right now. Now you can start creating, you can start doing the research and creating content for it. So let's say I wanted to start with what is content strategy, right? So I will create concepts for it. Now, what is concepts, right? So concepts is either a keyword, a phrase, or a sentence, or it could be even a paragraph that summarizes the key element or the key, or what you say is the heart of any passage. Okay, so it's the core concept that where around which the entire paragraph revolves around. So we've created this tech where we go. So how does this pull out content, right? What it does is that it'll go to the SERP, it'll semantically analyze all the headings and come up with the closest heading to what you're writing and pull out the content from it. That's the first thing. If it does not find anything semantically related, then it has capabilities to go and find keyword densities around the title that you have. So let's say you have what is content strategy. There's no SERP which has what is content strategy mentioned, or anything around that. In that case, what it'll do is it'll identify the most dense passages with content and strategy words both in it to identify key concepts from it. And this is why it's really powerful, because in many cases, it'll identify content that you didn't even think was good, but it's actually better than the ranking pages, right? So that's what you want to find, like really good meaty content that you can use to create content around. Okay, so your content strategy is a strategy that uses content as a preliminary means to achieve business goals. Okay, it's a very precise definition. I can start writing based on this definitions. But wait, before we even start writing or research, we started researching. But before we get into the research, let's start building out uh, our uh, our introduction paragraph. So I would like, right, like you need to start with an introduction paragraph and then you go into the research. I went directly to the research, which is okay. Uh, let's just keep going with the research so I don't jump hoops, and I can go back to methods and show you how you can build out introductions as well. Okay, so let's say we have this, and these are some sections underneath it. I can also generate concepts for it. So who will be reading your content? I can generate concepts for it as well. Okay, so we have some research going here, and we know that this is relevant, right? So, okay, buyer persona ready? No, you can delete that because it's not relevant. Now let's go here and select a concept and say, I want to answer this particular question using this concept. So I can say summarize concepts, and it will start writing for you. So it's basically taking this content and keeping it at the heart of it and building out rudimentary content around it to support that basis. And that's what we're doing, right? That's what you actually want to do. Okay, you can also take up to 4 concepts and summarize them together as well. So you can start building out definitive sections of your content using this method. And what it's really doing, it's keeping it in track with the core elements of what is facts that it found from the research. Now, this is not just like, this is the content that everybody understands, or GPT-3 understands, right? And that's why it can come up with really good stuff from it. But let's say you have stuff that GPT-3 has no idea about, right? Like that is often going to be the case when you're writing about product reviews and stuff like that. It's often going to be the case that GPT-3 does not know anything about what you're doing. In that case, let's delete this. Okay, I'm going to go to Google, and we're going to pull out an Amazon product. So let's say Amazon, let's say look for, this is like a complex device, right? It's going to have frequency, hertz, and stuff like that. That's why I'm trying to pick out this. Okay, so let's go ahead and pick this, and we can pick any particular thing, right? Like, so let's pick something that's high tech. Let's go here. Okay, this is the product, right? Like GPT-3 does not know about this. So if you wanted to write about this product, the only way to do this is you reading through all of these content and then coming up with suggestions to create content around, right, by yourself. There's no tool that's going to give you precise information extracted from it that you can leverage in a better way. So what you can do is just copy this content. Let's go back here and say, I want to create concepts from this existing content. So I'll just replace this with my research, and I can generate concepts from it. So now if I generate concepts from it, it's going to generate like regular type of concept. It's going to bring out all the information from that particular passage without caring what my heading is right now. So I'll show you different types of concepts, right? So this is coming up with information that is segregated in a way that it's better readability than what you find in Amazon. That's the first thing, right? So let's go ahead and delete this so I can show you some other examples as well. Okay, so you understood, like I extracted concepts. Now you can use that concepts and elaborate upon that and write factual information because it's bringing out that info. Now, let's say you wanted to bring out only features from it. There you go. It works for 4 feet. The frequency for it, it's an anti-bark device. It helps with dog training and bark control. So you can use this to create your passages or any other information that you wanted, right? Now, let's say, okay, this is okay, but I still want more. Like I want to educate my users on what are the benefits of this particular product or disadvantages of the product, right? So let's say I want to extract benefits out of it. It will really try harder. dog can hear the sound. The sound doesn't affect humans, so it's appropriate for all dogs, right? Like it's really coming up with benefits from the same existing paragraph in
Hmm.
10 different ways, right? Okay, this is great stuff. It can understand sentiments. What's really important to understand here is that I'll show you an example, right? So let's say when this particular example does not work here, but let's say, for example, you have a water tank that is 6 liter as an input tank, but gives 600 ml of hot water as an output. And this is mentioned in one particular feature, right?
Hmm.
The concept goes together. So you want to extract that entire concept. So it can even extract those cases where the sentence structure is so complicated that there are multiple concepts revolving in one particular sentence, which is important to maintain that source of truth, right? That you want to. So we've trained it with that kind of information to be able to extract that kind of details from it. Now, let's
So
say
even if in a one sentence it talks about multiple points, it can take multiple points from
yes,
one single sentence.
exactly.
Got it.
Uh, okay, so now let's say that you have customer reviews and you want to create your own reviews out of it, like some insightful information that your audience will love, right? Like that's just how you do it, right? Like you'd understand how they can use the product, and then you suggest them who is it right for and who is it wrong for, right? So in that cases, let's look at this, right? So this guy has given it full star. I'll just copy this. I'll take it here and I'll paste it, and I'll say I want to extract all the benefits out of it. It'll tell you what the person really found useful. Uh, the dog is very obedient. Okay, let's delete this. The device is easy to use and effective. No unnecessary pulling or touching required to stop the dog's behavior. It's giving like this is what the user thinks of this particular product, right? Now let's see. This user has given every positive element to this particular product. Like it's given him 5 stars. But I guarantee you that in his tone of voice, there's still some issues that he faced which were not major for him, right?
Hmm.
In those cases, it can even extract some disadvantages that the person has in the tone of voice. Difficult to get the dog to stop playing. No customer reviews on the product, or when they wrote it, no filter for reviews. So it's okay. No chewy proof. Not a good dog toy. So it's not a good dog toy, right? It's an
Sure.
anti-bark control device, so you can't
So,
use it for it.
so whatever we get advantages, benefits, or disadvantages, it's taking the context from the text we supplied, not any external text or something like that, just based on the context we gave them.
So it can. This is custom context.
Hmm.
That
Yeah,
means this is what you feed the research in, but we can also collect the research on any using any of these templates from existing SERP data by the first method that I showed you,
yeah.
where it was going and getting it right.
No,
So
no, I
this
was
is not
just
related.
trying to understand that when we mention disadvantage, even though that is a five-star review, now it's trying to come up with disadvantages from that particular review only,
Exactly.
not an
Yes.
external source or something like that. Just what I was trying to understand that.
Yeah, no, it's totally based on that custom research only. No other information has been influencing that data point.
Makes
So
sense.
that's why it makes it truthful, factful, and
True.
things that like yeah. Okay, so this is okay, still okay. Now let's say how can we there's some other powerful stuff as well. So we have FAQs, right? So I'm going to use a case study here. So let's say you just have this particular product. Okay, we'll just use this particular product information and come up with some other template. So let's say you have some raw text, right? Or you have a YouTube transcript, and you do lots of YouTube videos, right? So I'll show you something how you can convert YouTube videos into a blog post too using outranking. But let's say you have some transcripts, right? Or you have some blob of text, and you want to now identify all the questions that that text is answering. So you can then build out potential information around them, right? So what do you do? Generate concepts. It'll read through that data and identify what is content strategy. So, okay, let's delete that. Okay, what kind of ultrasonic devices does this article discuss? What frequency range does the dog hear? Right, like these are the questions that this particular content is answering. Right. So, what is the Morty's ultrasonic dog deterrent? Like, okay, what are the features of the this device? Let's say you wanted to elaborate on this. Like now you want to write about the features, right? How would you do it? Convert to H3 tags the features of this device. and I still have that information trailed over from my
Yeah.
initial research. So what I'm going to do now is use related to find only the relevant information to the features of this device. Okay. And it's going to read the data and try to really find out the features of this particular product. So it says safe and effective solution for dog training. Anti-bark device can effectively train your dog. So it's Modus ultrasonic bark emits this, right? So it's really coming up with features and related benefits for this particular thing. And you can use this in any situation. So we'll look
Uh,
into a few situations.
can you try the related on one of the more closely intent question? See what is it coming up with?
For example,
Like the third one.
so this one right here.
Yeah.
Okay, convert to H3 tag. Okay, it's gonna give you ideas, right? So you're gonna have to weed out some information. Oh, sorry, I need to delete that.
Okay.
I did not select the related, so let's delete this. Okay, let's select related.
Yeah, it's
There you go.
talking about that specifically. That's what I
It's
was looking
really
for.
trying hard. It is really smart, man. I kid you not, it does really work. And this is why people are finding this so
Yeah, because
useful.
when you mentioned related, I want to see whether suggestions coming up is specifically mentioning that mode as a word. I wanted to see that. So I can see out of here, most of it's mentioning that. That's where I know that it's specifically talking about that point.
Right. So now, like, right, so like, if you're writing about just modus, you can use these three concepts that it came out with, this four concepts, and build out a paragraph around it,
Hmm.
right? Like it talks about that. So this is some crazy stuff. But what I'm about to show you is going to be even crazier. So let's go to YouTube. Uh, and I'll just go to let's go to your channel, right?
It should be
Alston. All right.
Alston.
Oh,
We are
uh,
getting a comparison video immediately.
yeah, I'm gonna pull it out. It's okay. You know what? Okay, so I paused the video. I'm gonna go here, open transcripts, and you see this transcript. So let's toggle the timestamps. Now you have this transcripts, right? It's huge transcripts.
Hmm.
I'm gonna copy a little bit out of it. Okay, so I can show you how you can create a blog post with this thing. Okay, all right. So um, before I get there, so I just copied this right now. But you understand the gimmicks behind concepts, right? Like why is
Yeah.
it so powerful, and why is it doing what it's doing? Um, One other great thing is that, like, let's say you have your own research, you don't want to look at the top 20 SERP data, but you want to feed in your own data points where we can go and identify research from. You can do that here. You can disable stuff, and it will not read concepts from it, and you can add your own pages. Like, you can add your own library of pages, 30 pages if you want, and it can start reading through that as well. So it's really crazy in terms of research first and
Yeah,
then writing.
this is actually one of the most important, I think, when we are doing research, because there are some pages where we don't wish to take any content from them. Can be that content is not good quality, or my it's mentioning competitor products, or I found a really good article piece which it's still not doing a good SEO, but I know the content is really good quality. I want to focus factors from that, so I can essentially add those here, right?
Yes, absolutely. And okay, yeah, you can also add your custom URL. So for like PDFs or videos or transcripts or stuff where you don't really have a web page, we have custom formats. So
Exactly.
either ways, you'll be taken care of. Okay, this is some really good stuff that we've added for around concepts in terms of what you can do with writing, right? But we've taken now the game to another level. So let's go ahead and look at methods as well, where you can define custom workflows. You can create your own custom workflow to build out any sort of automation script for writing content. Now, this is something really powerful. So let's say, and this is driven by community, so people are contributing the methods online, and I've built out a few methods here. So let's look at a few methods that I've built out. There's a brilliant introduction, right? So this is taken with specific examples which are powerful. Okay, this is not any introduction. When you go to any other product and you say, write an introduction for me, you can compare the quality of how engaging the content is and whether it stays on track of what we really need to do. So let's go ahead and create. It's asking me for a tone, so I can add a tone here and say I want to talk. I can never pronounce sarcastic for some reason.
So
Okay.
what are the tones available?
You can create your own custom tones. You can say, in voice of a child, a mother with 100 kids to intensify the emotions. You can say a lawyer who's really rude. You can be as creative as you want or as subtle as you want. So I'll give you an example, right? So we have tons of people who use German and French, right? And there is informal and formal what they write when
Mm.
they do the writing, right? So it can even understand that whether you're talking about informal is like when you talk about like you, they, right? Like, and it's non-personal. So it can even understand that, as well as some, like, you can say cyborg, right? And it will understand you need to write in tone of a cyborg, and I have a method that writes in tone of a cyborg too. So um, some creative stuff here, but let's say I want to create a brilliant introduction. Okay. Have you ever thought about how many hours a day your job is? The average person, I don't know why is this doing this, but okay, there you go. Okay, just read through this. You should understand why is it engaging, and it really works.
The content marketing strategy is a new and exciting way to increase your blog traffic, build email list, and earn more, right? Wrong. The content marketing strategy sounds like it comes from a genius minds of multimillionaires with slick suits and fancy car. It's not easy to execute
So I
upfront.
use sarcastic. Okay, so it is using sarcastic tone to write that stuff. This is amazing stuff. Now, let's say, like, enough with the creativity. I really want to get people to be engaged in the content. So what I'm going to do, what we did was, you'd see pass, right? Like, you've seen pass and all of these. Like, so I built out two, pass and Bob, right?
Mm.
Bab. Now, you will see this across many tools that they use this particular feature and ask people to put in the product name
Good.
and product description, right? Man, I kid you not. This is the last way you really use to create content, okay? Which is product way around. Sure, if you are working on only product and a product related blog that is like
Mm.
700, 800 words, you can extensively use it. But this does not work in creating engaging content for the web. So what we did was we created our own template, our own method of coming up with this Pab blog introduction. So this is specifically made for introductions of a blog post or any web page content. So let's go ahead and do this. It's going to ask us who your reader is. And you can create this methods which ask this outputs and stuff like that on your own. And I will show you that as well.
Mm.
So I'm creating something for, let's say, marketers, writers. And I can say command. Okay, it did not build out the agitate. There we go.
So
There we go. Solution, right. So there we go. And this is your introduction, and you can read this. I want you to read this out loud, so you understand, like, this is like start your journey towards success with this ultimate guide, right? And that's where you stop, and it dive deeper into the this thing. So it's not telling you that, oh, hey, go buy this product, right? You're not talking about product. And you'll face this again and again with any tool that you create, is that it'll start talking about products because they're more catered towards product. This is more customized towards long form content, right?
and it looks
um,
like making a lot of sense. For example, in case if you don't understand what BAS is, like it is a sales copy format we use where we will be addressing the problem or the pain at the initial stage, then we will be agitating and we will finally be presenting a solution. So if we read through this particular section, like content marketing is one of the best way to get more leads and customer, but it can be difficult. So it's addressing a problem to the user. It's able to go to the user level, and then the agitations comes into like this article consists of elements including research on 5 sources. So it's doing that. And final point, if I look into it, like start your journey towards success with this ultimate kind, so it's showing that this is the solution. It's really good.
it's quality is the core of it, and for quality you need research.
True.
So research is mandatory, man. And I tell this everyone like, hey, write for me is not working. It's giving me a bunch of garbage. And I said, write for me is never the solution. You
True.
use it for specific use cases. But okay, so like some creative stuff, right? Like let's say YouTube transcripts is what I wanted to really show you. So let's go ahead and paste your YouTube transcripts here. This is your YouTube transcripts, okay?
Hmm.
Let's go all the way up here. Hey guys, Alston. All it says all state. Okay,
Yeah,
so
YouTube never gets my name.
A L A L S Alston. Okay. In this video, we're going to prepare. Okay, so this is a small introduction, and this is not for content strategy. Your video is for something else. Okay, so what it's gonna do is convert your transcripts into some sort of content marketing gimmick, so you understand that video it will work. Like, okay, let me change this video title. Hold on a second. What is the title of the video? Compare post phrase and outranking. Okay. Okay, so I'm just gonna change the title of the heading so it
Hmm.
talks more relevant information. Okay. And now let's go to your transcripts here and say kind of software. So what I'm doing is now I'm going to start select. So let's look for the first break, right? And you say answer on that questions on which the best tool, and God asking, okay, emphasize what kind of tool, understand that when it comes to content optimization. Okay, so let's say top of the answer, and I got a lot of questions on which the best tool and when which I okay, which is the best one. This is where you want to create your first break, right? Like let's say your first paragraph. All you have to do is this is a YouTube transcripts to paragraph.
Hmm.
Select it, and probably there's not much here, but we'll see. There you go. Uh, so it's still talking about content marketing because we've fed in the description here. It's still content marketing here. It is going to keep a try going back to the description. But as you get to that, this post-based phrase, market news
No,
writers, and
actually,
outranking
this is a great introduction. It was what I was trying to cover on the first part of the video. It took the name wrong because it couldn't announce my pronunciation of that word. For example, post-based is like post-base, and
post-based,
market
right?
market news mean market news, and writers mean writers end. So that's the
Right.
only difference.
That's the only difference, right? But you know those small edits are essential, and you're gonna
True.
have to make those because no tool is gonna be perfect when it comes to
Exactly.
tech. The point is, can it make you a better writer, right? Like,
Hmm.
can it do your job faster? That's the point. So what we have done is that we have a minor release coming up this weekend where you can actually select up to 1800 characters and let it auto run, and it will start generating this paragraph on like scale. Like in a few seconds you'll have half the video done.
You know
Uh,
what I'm going to try after this call, right? I have a lot of YouTube videos and blogging is lacking, so you can expect more videos, blogs from videos. I'm going to try
we
this.
want to really turn this into something super powerful. And look at this. Okay, so like let's say you have the content and now you want to write the heading for it, right? So we created paragraph 2 and heading. It'll understand the paragraph and come up with a heading.
So we essentially don't need to use the bottom right for me button. We can keep on using the sidebar sections and
Yes.
starting it, right? More accurate answers also.
More accurate answers as well, right? And you can still use write for me, like, but what I recommend people is like when you use write for me, make sure your inputs are much lower. You're doing much more of active guidance.
Hmm.
That's the
Okay.
only way to, like, you can use it to finish your sentences and maybe small parts of your paragraph, but don't use it for research, man. Like, don't let it guide
True.
your thoughts. If you let it do that, then you're just no saving. um,
When you click write for me, does it also take any text we written or provided into consideration, or is it just
yes, it does.
fictional?
No, it's so what it does is it's so right for me, for us is a little creative. What we've done is that we've auto identified the triggers and what sort of hierarchy your document is maintaining before
Hmm.
coming up with content. So let's say you are here. Uh, you are here. What it will do is that when you're writing from like down bottom here, it will read up till here, and then it will read your title and
Makes
description.
sense. Makes
But
sense.
if let's say if you have uh, content marketing strategy, examples, and you have your H2 tag. And let's say you have a bunch of content above here.
Hmm.
What it will do is that it will read this, then it will understand that there is a hierarchy change here, and this is emphasized. So when I start talking about this, I need to talk about this in relation to this and this in conjunction with the title, and it can understand that and keep on track as much as it can. But
Makes
what
sense.
most people do is you are at the end of a paragraph or you're at the end of a sentence and you do write for me. GPT-3 doesn't really know where to go. It's reading the content, but it's not active guidance, right? So what we suggest is that you add a word or two and give active guidance as to where you want it to go. But
Yeah, you
yes,
can
it works
create
just
something
like
like
that.
a open-ended statement, like I think this is the best because, or something like that, because that way we are instructing. Otherwise, it's going to go anywhere when it comes to content writing. So just give some open-ended question or connect a word like because, but something like that to give some
Right.
pointers.
Right. So we're working towards some really cool stuff, and you'll see like it auto identifies some of these things
Great.
eventually. So we really want to make you a better writer. Like it's not replacement, better writer, right? Now let's say I'm going to show you one more creative template that Jason built out. It's Neil Patel blog email. Okay. So let's say you've created a blog post and you want to send a newsletter to your audience, right? And you want to write it just like Neil Patel would.
Now this
So
is
what we've
interesting for me.
now
I
look at
need to
this.
work on email newsletter.
Just look at this. This is taking. uh, so check it out. So, sometimes like it's even capturing some of the tones that he uses again and again in the email. And possibilities are endless. Okay,
True.
you can really build out any sort of custom method. So we're working on custom methods for case studies, press releases, right? Like things which are difficult to achieve with Write for Me. It's not the solution. So we work like we want to work towards solutions like that, helping you create product pages. But web pages, right? Like not
True.
sections of those small things, right? So that's what we really want to focus on. But let's say you want to create your own method. There is like series of these inputs that you can use to create your own training data, your own custom method, and use it. So I created like a personal method, and I called it cyborg introduction or something like that. Let's see if it is still there. No, I deleted that. But it can like let's say you repeatedly write certain things in certain tone on your blog post, and then the remaining part is let's say the introduction is always formal,
Hmm.
but everything else is informal, right? In that case, you can build out an introduction method which is always formal, so you don't have to keep changing your tones and stuff like that. But your team can do one click and it just writes that, right? So
Makes sense.
here, look at this. Like this is I got block structuring framework, and you can also create helps like this. So write help. Okay, it wrote the help on how you should be structuring your blog post based on this particular framework. So write a pass introduction. So it's suggesting that go to methods, write a pass introduction. Then comprehension, begin outlining by answering pressing questions and then providing a solution. So you can structure your outline and you can create like n number of notes out of this for your agency or like for your own
Yeah,
use
I think
case or
this
for
will
like.
be really good when we are working with team or freelance writers or someone like that, right? So we give out the template, we show these are the things, and they can go according to the template or something like that.
Exactly. So yeah, so this is like a very basic gist, but we've done like plenty of other revamping stuff too into the product. So let's go ahead and look at some data enhancement stuff as well. So we've changed our topic coverage, and we're now using Google NLP
That's
to come
good.
up with this content, right? So there's a Google NLP, and again, we're not recommending people on how many times you should particularly use a keyword. That's not what we are suggesting and will ever do. But users want it, so it's here, and you can see. So what we also added is heat map. So it's lots of data, and there's heat map for related search data as well. So let's go ahead and see this. And it will start like, so this is your heat map. It shows you all the related keywords, how you are using them with the red dots, and how your competition is using them. And you can filter them by your competition as well as all. So this kind of tells you where you stand and what you need to coverage
Makes
on. And yeah, so better better content. So now there's another things, right? Like data enhancements. How do you do more research? Top content marketing strategy. This is mentioned in SERP somewhere, but I don't know how to write it. So what I will do is click AI. There is no competition mentioning it, but here is a paragraph that I found in competition, which is mentioning this particular keyword in the paragraph. So I can use this. I can rewrite it, copy this, like this seven, so yeah, just copy this and then take it into my content. Similarly, let's say you have partially used, like what is content strategy? I can SEO optimize. So it will try to insert this particular keyword into this and rewrite it. And yeah, it'll really try hard to do that. In cases where sentences like have similarities and it can be inserted. If it cannot, then don't worry about it. It's not going to insert it
And
into it.
this is a really good a tip. For example, we will be missing some related keywords in the content once we created it, and we can actually use either competition or the partially used data to make it much more relevant to the user, right?
Exactly. Exactly. That was the intent behind it. So we
Now,
made
this
tons
I
of
would have
data.
missed before without your demonstration. I would have missed this, and I think it's really important.
Absolutely. It's like really tiny features, it's just plastered all over the platform. It takes some learning curve.
True.
It's not that easy yet. It will be easier. It's just not that easy yet. And I understand that. So, yeah, so this is the basic, like really top level enhancements that we made. There are some other productivity tools that we built out too. So, like you can have a multi layer of screen. So, you have this particular screen, and then now you can do research and add stuff that is there. We've also added Scratchpad. Where is my Scratchpad content brief? So there's also content brief feature that you would have probably missed because it's hidden right here. Most people now don't even use content brief; they just go straight to creating content because the brief is created for you, right?
True.
But you can use the Scratchpad to do some methods, right? Like understand like or do some brainstorming, copy paste content, use some AI comments, and then take it back and forth and generate your content brief at scale. So let me just turn this a few things off. So, but yeah, it generates a content brief in just a few seconds. It's tons of information, right? Just similar things. Yeah, so this is basically what we've added so far, with plenty of data refinement.
True.
Very quick overview.
And even I'm
Uh,
doing the review, I think it's going to be a long video because I see a lot of sections, lot of data points I need to talk about. So you are
yes.
just blasting to everything, but I seriously think there is a lot more, and hopefully you don't release couple of new features in the meantime.
No, I'm not going to. Our next release is majorly focusing on dashboard and making your life more productive and organized. We've like close to 10,000 blogs being created
So
on our product like every
the
few days.
immediate
So
future roadmap is going to be designing your UI, or is it some other
yes.
features?
So we have a few features in line. I want to keep some hush hush, but we're doing a major redesign on the dashboard so you can organize your documents. We're going to have ability to create different kinds of document that need to be scored differently.
Hmm.
So your product page is product page and your home pages are scored differently in terms of SEO, right? Like you don't
True.
want to be super optimized and lose the brand value, but you want
True.
to still have some. So we're going to have those categorizations. You're going to have ability to create some pages like press releases, case studies, and YouTube videos, like very specific things that
True.
you can do around content. But yeah, essentially around those realms, everything that goes on web, uh, we will not deal with sales copy. We'll not deal with ads
Makes sense.
copy. That's just not going to do any of those things. But yeah, and we'll be more focused on research too. So we're working on creating um, letting you create a very powerful data bank of your own that you can often refer
True.
and create content from. So things like that, right? Like we really want to focus on enterprise and providing a tool, and it's okay if it's a little expensive because the text is really doing really hard stuff in the back end, but we want it to be valuable. If
True.
we don't want like gigs on Fiverr where people say, hey, can you do content correction from outranking generated AI for $5. We don't want to do that, right?
So
So
I think
quality
there's,
paramount.
I think both there is either a trial or a refund policy is there, right?
Yes, there's trial and there's refund too.
Okay,
Both,
in
like
that
you
case,
can.
what I would suggest is just watching this video. If you are watching this video, I think just get the trial and go through a content and put your input and see what kind of a output it difference from a generic GPT tool. So that I think you can understand the value for this tool as I see, because we are just taking a random example and but showing the methods. So when you put your own niche or your own idea or your own business content field, then you can see whether it is providing the relevant output for you or not. That way you can make a decision outfit. For example, that is the reason I think with all GPT tools, like don't take the video as an example of the quality of the tool, just test it out. I think as Pankil mentioned, there is both a refund as well as a trial policy. So just get any of this method which you prefer and just test it out and see what kind of a difference it's bring. Because this video it's just showing me that I need to learn more about outranking right now, because my first version of outranking didn't include any of this, and I thought that was an in-depth video on it. Now I need to do a separate one. So I need to keep on learning and just test it out and see the difference for this product.
One thing I really mentioned to forgot to mention for power SEO users is ability to do multi-search, multi-keyword search, and keep them in one group. So let's say you are targeting content marketing strategy and you are targeting content marketing strategy examples, and you wanted to pull in research from both of these keywords. You can have a multi-keyword document here now.
Okay, cool.
Uh, yeah,
I remember you were mentioning that it's coming soon. I didn't realize it already available. It's really
it's
important
available.
because we are no longer targeting one keyword. We are targeting group of keywords when it comes to content marketing related semantic keywords and everything. So what is the maximum number?
10.
10. That is great. So I will test it
Yeah.
out. So we need to
Yes.
paste it like comma and keyword
No,
or
you just delete this and you press another one. It'll keep grouping them.
okay, cool.
So just yeah, keep adding another one and just search. So
I have a lot of testing to do right now after this
yeah,
video.
yeah. It's this has gone above and beyond. Like yeah, from the last time we've seen. Yeah, it's come a long way.
And I'm looking forward to use that. Is there anything else you want to mention, or I think that's the
Um,
everything?
this is like majority of the stuff that we've done for this particular release. There's so many small enhancements that you can only understand if you start using it, and like some really powerful stuff like when people write under a heading and expect it to build out a paragraph, what sort of output do you get from both, right? Those sort of really minute like comparisons, if you do those with other videos, you understand like a system needs to be smart. Like you just can't use write for me. There has to be some logics which trigger those write for me. This is one of the biggest problems that I've seen is like it's difficult to keep the context in place, because as you go down your content and you only reach 600 characters, you no longer start reading your hierarchy of the document, your title of the document, because you are adding those characters. It's going to get tougher and tougher to stay on track and write quality content. So very minor things that we put in that will really elevate your experience when you're writing content.
Makes sense. Really excited and looking forward to all the features and personally testing out. Really, thank you
I
for so much for doing this. Really appreciate it.
no, you're very welcome, man. I'm actually looking forward to your feedback. So you've seen all the tools, right? So I'm
Yes.
excited actually.
Let's see. I have a lot of videos which I can immediately try. I have a lot of tool based article. Like one I'm working right now is like Meat Fox, where OpenAI does not understand what that is because it is a brand new product compared to market nature product. So I'm going to test out the Factual and see what how it works, and I will probably create videos for it also. We're looking forward to it.
Right. Absolutely, right. And try out different templates when you're like use that as your learning curve, because I've seen often people get like agitated by the fact that hey, it's going to use some AI credits and I'm going to lose something. But if you don't try it out, you're not going to understand the
True.
product. So use it out, right? And generate, like, although it'll generate some crap, right? Like words to words, and you'll lose a few characters, but generate it so you'll understand like how different sets of features work and how you can make them work for you.
Yeah, we can identify which is the right font. For me, there is, because there is no universal right section templates or something like that. You might need something else, another person might looking for something else. So just trying out different until you find the perfect sweet for spot for you. Then you can optimize your rest of the content process, because you know what are the templates to use, you know what are the things to use. That way you will be saving more on the long run, but you will be spending more in the short run. So if it's helping on a long run, you can go with that. That's how I personally look into this.
Exactly. It's going to be learning curves. Like powerful products will have, some exceptions, and they're going to be a little difficult to use. And because there's just like packed with utilities, and I understand that there is a learning curve. So people are like taken back when they see these codes over here. They'll be like, oh, what is this? Right? Like, I
True,
don't know what this is. Right.
true.
But it's a slight learning curve. Once you get past that, it's a breeze.
Yep, I will try it out and let you know. Thanks again for doing this demonstration. I really
You're
appreciate
very
it.
welcome.
And do you have any
You're
other
very welcome.
final words for the audience?
No, great. So, like, I would really love you guys to try this out. And there's a 7-day refund policy, like Alston mentioned. There's also a free trial where you can use 2 documents and up to 10,000 characters to create content. So, give it a shot. Take it for a trial, and give us your honest feedback. Right. So, I'm really hoping that you can generate some factual content out of this and not fluff. So, fluff-free
Yes.
content. Here we go.
Let's see. And thanks again, and have a wonderful day. And thank you so much for doing this session. And I hope we will see you again with a new set of features, let's say in a future time.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Alston, for having me. Have a wonderful day.
And take care and see you guys later too. Have a great
Yep.
day.
Bye.
Cheers.